Good morning, good afternoon, good evening guys, welcome to OtakuChrisIsTalkin. This is going to be another anime review for That Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime, episode 10, titled The Orc Lord. Now this is another really good episode by Reincarnated as a Slime, yes I'm going to call it that, broken down even though that in itself is quite long, but this was another great episode by this series as we got a nice amount of plot progression, characterization, world building, and I'm like, how do they fit into this 20 minutes? I literally was like, is this finished? Why can't we have more? We need more, we need more. The only thing I might say I was not really kind of fond of was the ending, the cliffhanger. Every kind of cliffhanger or ending so far has been better than this one because I was just like, this lizard guy at the very end, I couldn't care less. But then, whilst taking notes of this, I was like, wait a second, did this guy say that he was named by Gelmod? Who, Gelmod? Well, I don't know, they just about know the name in the series as well. But isn't that the guy who pretty much named the orcs? So doesn't that mean that the person who named the orcs is also the person who named the lizard guy? Why is he going around naming everyone? And this is a clear point that Rimuru states. Sorry, my phone was ringing. I was like, why are my friends sending me messages while I'm making videos? And I feel like that one mystery is going to play a huge vital role in this series, especially as we saw this masked Majin. Yeah, I think that was his name. Mike, yeah, I don't know. This masked guy. I think it was 2 episodes back, he named this orc who just seemed kind of weak in the desert. He was like, look, I'm gonna name you, you're gonna be strong, blah blah. We never saw anything of it again, and we saw hints of this in the last episode as well. So it's clear, it's safe to say that that masked person is going to be the main bad guy for this series, and if not the masked guy, then it's going to be this so-called Orc Lord who just sounds freaking terrifying. He does not sound like the kind of person I want to be working under. He's going around pretty much feeding off of the fear and whatnot off of his subordinates. That shit's just crazy because we're seeing how somebody who's that OP can be the only person who can handle 200,000 orcs, regardless of how weak they are. 200,000 orcs is a crazy amount, to a point of where, do you know what? I'm going to seem like I'm going all over the place, but this is connected. Look, Rimuru named 6 ogres. Yeah, just the 6 ogres made him pass out, which was the same kind of thing that happened to him when he named hundreds of the goblins. So that alone shows the power difference without even showing the strength, even though we got to see a bit of the strength in the last episode. That shows the huge power gap between several different monsters or species in this series. And I really like that in this episode we got a nice amount of world building and the different types of species and monsters that are going around and pretty much where they stack up. How the lizard men who were introduced in this episode, no, they were introduced a little bit back, but the lizard men as well even mentioned like, oh yeah, like when we find out at the same time as the lizard men that there's a whole bunch of orcs coming to them, they're like, how many? And they're like 200,000. It's like, oh, that's quite a lot. But even then, it wasn't like, oh no, we're definitely gonna lose. But it was just kind of, oh right, they have more than us. That's kind of crazy. The orcs are meant to be these mindless, brain dead, pretty much just monsters, kind of just going around. So to have even maybe a few hundred, even a few thousand working together is crazy. But to have hundreds of thousands, 200,000 of them are going around in a unit with body armor, clearly being under control. Something's going up. So I liked that, like literally all this kind of information was pretty much given to us by different people, and how it went from different perspectives. It went from the lizard men, how it went back to Rimuru, how like it went to the ogres. Fantastic. So this episode really worked on world building, and I feel like that's one of the strengths of this series, and it should be a strength, especially as this is another isekai genre. And I feel like that's one thing that some isekai genres don't do so well is natural world building. World building is done in almost every series, but natural and believable world building. It's like, why would this species be scared of that species? Why would they stay away from them? Is it because of the numbers? Is it because of the strength? Is it because of the magicals? So many different things there. So one thing I want to say is this episode really did amazing on the world building. As I just mentioned earlier with the plot progression, clearly Gelmod, he is going to be one of the main bad guys of this series, or the Orc Lord, who was named a lot in this episode, who masked up. We don't get to, not masked up, but kind of was like a shadowy figure. We didn't really get to see who he was, but we're going to presume that this guy is an ultimate prick and the main bad guy. And possibly, I think that Gelmond and the Orc Lord are not the same people. I think the Orc Lord is going to be that one orc that we saw several episodes back, who was probably named directly from that masked Majin. I don't know, possibly, definitely, I don't know. I feel like I'm wrong, but I also feel like I'm correct, hence why I'm telling you guys. What are your thoughts? Are you agreeing with me, or do you have other thoughts? Obviously, no manga spoilers, please, because I do want to kind of be surprised at the same time when the anime comes out. I'm like, ooh, which is why I'm sticking away from the internet with this series. I'm literally trying my hardest to just remember it off the dome. But what are your thoughts on this theory? Overall, really good episode of this series. I'm interested to see where this is going to go into the next episode. This episode was a nice amount of exposition, but one thing I do love about this series, but this episode specifically, was the exposition was not forced down our throat. A lot of series, they like to just kind of throw exposition, and some series try to be Hunter and give us the narrator, and I'm like, yo, you can't do it like Hunter, just do it differently. And this series just did it so seamlessly by giving us characters who are pretty foolish or stupid themselves and ask the questions, because it makes sense that those characters wouldn't know these things. For example, we got to get the answers in the same way through Gobuta. He's pretty stupid, and he's been established as one of those characters. So when he was asking why, it didn't seem like a random thing or like you should know this. Well, no, Gobuta's an idiot, so it kind of makes sense. Talking about Gobuta, man like Gobuta's out there training, trying to get his flex on, which I'm really happy that he's not just sticking around to be like dead weight, and clearly he has an importance to this role as well. Really weird, I've spent so much time talking about Gobuta, but if you see the lineup, like in the opening or the ending, one of them, you get to see Gobuta and the rest of them all kind of lining up with Benaru, Rimuru, fucking Rangard, like a whole bunch of names. As I said, I don't even know my housemates' names, so I'm literally, just be thankful I remembered like those 4 or 5 different people. But overall, really love this episode. I'm intrigued and excited for next week's episode. And what are your thoughts on this episode? Did you enjoy it as much as me, or do you think we're just overly gassed? And if you do like anime reviews, I do make other anime reviews, either now or about to go up is my JoJo most recent anime review. Sorry, that's a couple of days late. As well as my 7 Deadly Sins manga reaction is going to be up. I came home, I saw my notification on my phone, and I was like, I'm going to make that. So if you're excited for that, turn on your notifications. Also subscribe, which you should be doing first, but turn on notifications for future videos for myself, and do subscribe, as once we hit 1,000, maybe a few more people might take me seriously. I don't know. Have a great day. OtakuChrisIsTalkin. Peace. Alright, quickly, one quick note I forgot to mention in the review. I'm editing my video right now and I was like, oh shit, I should actually mention this. Benaru, yes, he accepted to join Rimuru in his clan and everything, but he wanted it to only be until he got his vengeance. And Rimuru accepted that and said, look, once we've sorted this out, feel free to leave if you want to, but come on, I think we all know what's really going to happen. But anyway, just wanted to kind of put that out there as well, just in case somebody says something, I don't know.